Hi, I'm Sarah Jones from the Chocolate Strawberry and I'm guest tutor today for Pretty Witty. You've probably noticed this isn't the usual studio for Pretty Witty. This is my home in the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire. It's lovely to have the Pretty Witty team here with me today. We're going to do a selection of tutorials here for you today and I hope that you enjoy them. We're looking at painting on fondant today and in the watercolour style that's quite trendy again this year. Today I'm going to use the gels that we use to colour fondant with, and I'm going to mix them with alcohol, but you don't have to use alcohol at all. You can use lemon extract if you've got it. It'll do just the same job, or rejuvenator fluid. I just have to have some vodka, so I'm going to use that. So I've got here into one of these little plastic palettes. These are only about £1. They're a great little bit of kit to have, and I've got sable brushes. I've got my vodka is here. And I'm going to mix some of that with just the tiniest bit of pink gel, and it'll make a really watery paint. And that's what we're looking for. If we're painting watercolours onto paper, first of all, you'd be soaking all of the paper with your water and then putting paints into that. It's a bit different on fondant. We're just going to use wet paint straight onto dry fondant. And what I'm going to do is just mark in some petal shapes. And this is what's so lovely. You can see immediately about this paint. It's so delicate. It's really, really lovely stuff to use. So it's very delicate, very pale. And unlike painting with cocoa butter, it's safe in heat. So if you're delivering a wedding cake to a marquee or a venue where the cake is going to be sat in a window, then you can use these gels safely, knowing that your painting's safe and it's not going to melt. So I'm just doing a very basic flower. It's a 5-leaf flower. And I've done that in the pale pink first. So if we do that again, do a different size one here. And it's a lovely, watery, pale flower. Not much detail in it. We'll have this one dropping down behind here. Let's do another smaller one here. So they sort of crash into each other and look quite natural. So then I've got a tiny bit more gel. And I'm going to put this out at the base of the flower, sort of in the centre of the flower. I'm going to let it drop in to that wet paint that's already there. Whilst that's drying off a little bit, I'm going to do the centre of the flowers with some yellow. Okay, so just as I did before, I've got my vodka, a little bit of the yellow in there, and I'm just letting it almost drop off the brush. So it's pale at the moment, and I'm just dropping it in, rather than drawing sort of solid circles in the centre. I want this to be fairly abstract. And then I've got a tiny bit of deeper pigment and dropping that into that wet paint too. Now whilst that's drying, I've got a ruby coloured paint which I can start to take out through the petals a little bit more. So I've got a much smaller brush and a deeper, redder paint than we had before. So I was using a rose pink to start off with. And now I've got a ruby colour pigment, tiny brush, and again I'm just spreading that out from the centre a little bit. And it's more sort of abstract again, so I'm not worrying about lots and lots of detail. Just a brush that's quite wet. So I've used that paint now through on a tiny brush, and you can see I've got a wet brush, but I'm just using tiny touches of it here and there to re-establish where the edge of these petals are, make them look pretty and pointed. It's very delicate painting. So again, as we've talked about in other tutorials that are on the site, if you've got a lot of painting to do, you've got a big surface area to cover on a cake, sometimes the most dramatic thing you can do is something that's quite simple, but lots and lots of it. So this is a very, very simple motif, but if a cake is smothered in it, it looks great. Okay, so I've got those, and now I'm going to use a deeper colour again. Let's mix up something a little bit deeper. And let's put some little seeds onto our flowers, again with a tiny brush. And I'll just do that by just tiny little dots here and there. Again, if they're nice and wet, some will flood out into the other paint and some will sit where they're supposed to be. It doesn't matter what happens. It should be just nice and fluid, fairly abstract. So I put in those tiny little seeds, and just so we pick up that colour somewhere else, occasionally I'll just sweep little bits of that darker colour through that painting. You don't, when you look at any of your compositions, you want your eye to go easily over the painting. You don't want anything to be jarring or really sticking out as not fitting in. So every time you use a colour, just pick it up somewhere else in the composition as well, and everything will fit in. Okay, and then we're just going to do some little leaves as well. So I'm going to use some of that yellow paint we had before and mix in some green. Before that dries out too much, we'll put some deeper green in as well. Again, it's not going to be all over my previous paint strokes. We'll leave some of those showing underneath. So I tend to take the green up from the base of the leaf and out towards the end. And you can just continue to play until you're absolutely happy with everything. If you want to continue with smaller brushes and adding little bits of detail here and there to match your flowers, you won't need much, but just odd sections. The suggestion of veins on the leaves here and there, but don't go mad with it. You want everything to be light, just easy to look at, just delicate. And there we go.